Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now I'm going to talk about sacred geometry in this video. As a healer, I used to use geometric devices or tools to amplify my intent when I'd be doing session work, whether it's through Skype, whether it's through Facebook Messenger, whether it's through WhatsApp. And essentially would use a sacred geometry tool to become amplify my intent, right, to get the clearing done. And for a while, for a number of years, we haven't been doing that. And I'm going to explain why in this video, but also show you some of the sacred geometry and how it kind of all, me now reflecting on those sacred geometry tools I used to use, how they all connect up with one another and how they're also connected to where I have evolved to now. So what we're going to start with is a 5-stacked pyramid, which is a pretty amazing tool in itself, right? A lot of people know about the ability, the effect, the power of pyramids, but when we put them stacked up like this, we've got 5 pyramids. It used to be a 3-pyramid tool, but we stacked 2 more on, and when we put it like that, you can see the Star of David, which is the Merkaba. Okay, now the Merkaba sacred geometry is very much connected to consciousness, and it's also connected to balance, and we're going to get to that and how all these sacred geometry tools connect up and how they connect up to our heart. Our heart has an innate ability to shift things that are imbalanced back into balance, and that's a big purpose of the heart, because as the human being steered by the mind, by mentality, we tend to forge the fabric of reality into an unbalanced state, which we call duality. And quite often I term that arc or story as the human with the mind steering your ship being caught up in the game of duality. And a lot of people refer that to the matrix world or prison world, of you being part of a game, embodying an identity, embodying a guide that really isn't you. And there's something that is on the level of feel does not sit right with us. We feel uneasy, and that's because we're really living a life of identity, of a guide for a mind mentality that really isn't us. The heart is what we are. It facilitates ourselves as a soul consciousness, and of course we then use the body as a rental, a vehicle for a lifetime to extend our will through it. That's really the purpose. Now, so as I say, you see the Merkaba there, right? You see the Star of David. Now we're going to come to the next one, which is the Merkaba itself, right? So let's get this right. Okay, so you can see if I put it like that, that's probably the best way there, right? You've got the Merkaba there, right? Beautiful device, which is really 3-sided pyramid, one pointing downwards, one pointing upwards. And if we look at this point that goes upwards, that is actually symbolic of male, and then the arrow going down is symbolic of female, right? And when we look in this world as male and female, we've got to see those as polarities to each other, right? Which, yes, is the makeup of duality. But you can see how both a pyramid, pointing that way and a pyramid pointing that way, they've interlocked together, which is bringing those polarities together, which is establishing balance. We call that neutrality. Okay? As I mentioned, what the heart does, shifts things into balance. It's all about neutrality, which is removing yourself from this game we call the game of duality. So again, beautiful device, and the way that I used to use it in sessions would do the dowsing necessary to find out what we need to do for that client, and then I point it to the camera and I make the intent, and then they'd feel that energetic change happening there, because what we're really doing is I'm not sending you energy on this plane. I connect in my heart, connecting to my soul to guide the process. And then my soul is connecting to that client's soul. So it doesn't matter where they are in the world. They could live on the moon. We can still establish a connection that really is not on this plane. It goes beyond this plane. and what we call the quantum. Okay, so you've got that. Now, a couple of other tools is the chestahedron. Beautiful tool. This is a pretty recent geometry that's been brought forth by a gentleman called Frank Chester. Go and check out his work. And what he found when he built this or created this geometry, he really didn't create, he just facilitated and brought it forth for humanity. Because again, he was intuitively guided to bring this through. And he's a sculpture artist. So he's an artist, he's a creator in artistry, not mathematics. And mathematics is very mind orientated, where being artistic or creative is more not from the mind but from the heart, because it's not really about compartmentalization or being too cerebral, analytical. It's just being artistic and creative, which is more intuitive, more instinctual. And funnily enough, through that method, he found the geometry of the human heart itself, especially the left ventricle in regards to the chestahedron. Incredible stuff. Check out his work. So we used to use the chestahedron quite a bit. Love this geometry. I knew I had an instant connection with this, because even today in session work, we work so much with the client's heart. The heart is where it's at, and most of the common clearing we have to do is to get someone's heart open. Why? Because as the human, we're conditioned to use mind, thought, mentality as our primary discernment mode, which is really not facilitating who you are. So in that mode, you take on all the conditioning of what the world wants you to become, what that person wants you to be, and how they perceive you, instead of just being who you authentically are, right? Which is you as a soul. So when we get their heart open, then they can facilitate that, which is essentially bringing forth what we call their ascension, but at the same time, it's also bringing all the things that returns that person or maintains wellness and vitality. So our road, our path, our journey for wellness, vitality, and also to evolve as a consciousness, they're not two separate paths, they are the one. Now, another geometry I'm going to show is the Vesica Piscis. Beautiful geometry. And we're going to show again what Frank Chester, who brought forth the chestahedron, what he believes is the most important geometry there is. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. And it's very assigned or associated with the Vesica Piscis. So again, a beautiful geometry, right? You can actually see two pyramids that are back to back on each other, but then you've got this oval shape here, right? That is the Vesica Piscis shape. So I'm going to show you now, right, what Frank Chester thought was the most important geometry, right? And that's just two circles overlapping each other. Now, see, if we go back to, I call this the geometry of conception, right? Not just conception of the body, right, which my soul calls an interface, right? Why? Because it's the vehicle you're going to use for a lifetime to extend your will through it. And when I say you, I'm not saying you as the body. I'm saying you as the consciousness, you as the soul. Right? To use the body as an interface to extend your will through it. Right? So this is how we come here as a soul, through the heart, but also the creation of the interface that you're going to use as a rental for a lifetime. Right? So it's two circles overlapping. See each circle as a polarity in its own right. So in conception, one circle's male, one circle is female. When they are, when they're brought together, right? This is conception. When you're conceived, they come together and they overlap, and what they do is they create a space of neutrality, which is balance, which is the Vesica Piscis, right? So if I hold that like that, and I hold the Vesica like that, you can see the shape, right? You see the shape. And I'll show you even more. That shows you a little bit clearer. Right, there's the Vesica, right, in there. Right? Now also, if we put a line right through here, that's root 3. And Frank Chester talks a lot about root 3. And he's talking about really as a human, we're in big trouble if we get stuck to a polarity, right? As I said, the gamma duality is about two polarities, right? And humanity generally jumps from one extreme to the other. That's the problem of humanity and what they're going through. And our lesson in being here is to find our balance, and our balance is obviously here. Okay, so we can escape from the gamma duality, so to speak. Okay, so this is the space that's also formed when the embryo first creates the heart, and you as the soul then comes through the heart, because the heart's a portal. It facilitates everything that you are, which we have a map for. This is you, and we've depicted as a tree, right? So we call this the ascension map. Okay, this is your consciousness. The tree is a makeup of your energy signature as a consciousness, as a soul. And you have the purpose in being here you want to evolve and expand itself. So your energy signature gets spliced amongst numerous realities or universes where it extends its will through an interface, a body, right? So these are versions or variants of you living in other realities that you're all connected through a quantum physics term, quantum entanglement, okay? And you want to have an experience and convert that experience into wisdom. That's the whole purpose in being here, right? Now, this is the interesting thing, right? Because we're going to go back to these sacred geometries. You can see we've got the vortex pattern. Vortex is the form or geometry of flow, okay? So if I put like that on that angle, right, this would look a bit like a spiral galaxy, right? Because this is rotating, okay? So what that forms is that. And we make that. We call that the ascendant, right? Which is the seed of life. It's the lotus petal. So as you can see, those circles all overlapping each other, that's that, right? Our point of view from being here, looking downwards, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the trunk that connects it all, right? And what you've got here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the trunk, right? But look what geometry's in there. The Star of David, right? If I put it like, you'll see it more like that, right? The lines that I've put it, which is the Merkaba, right? Now, how do we bring every aspect of ourself, right, that we're connected to through quantum entanglement, because that's what we are as the soul, through the heart, right? So, as I mentioned at the start, I wanted to bring all these geometries together and what they have in common, and that is the facilitation of you as a consciousness. So, why I don't use these tools to amplify my intent anymore, because I've mastered the ability to get my heart open. When you get your heart open, you don't need the physical embodiment holding it anymore, because geometry, which is the word form, is a translation of the frequencies which is its original blueprint. Now, when I open the facilitation of bringing those frequencies through that make up every geometry that I've shown you in this video, I don't need to hold the physical embodiment, because I'm facilitating the original blueprint of what it is, which is frequencies. Now, this is why we make products of Tensor Technology products, because these are physical anchors of frequencies. Okay. This is just merely the translation of those frequencies. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the Merkaba in there, right? The Star of David, which is exactly what you see there. We can put it like that. Doesn't have to be 5 pyramids stacked up, it could be just 3. You're not going to get that with 1 pyramid, right? You also see it here, right? Because this is the Merkaba itself, right? Trying to get the angle right so you can see it. There we go, that's better. You can see it there beautifully, right? Right? So it's all connected to that, right? That geometry there. But see if we can, actually I'm just going to show you another diagram of, you get the hexagon as well in that design. But what I want to show you, right, is the makeup of that ascendant, right? Those 6 rings, and then you have the 7th in the middle, the trunk, right? The trunk of the tree. Is that, can you see a bunch of vesicas in there? Right? Yeah, you can, right? There's one there. 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 There's 6 of them. 6 vesicas, right? We go back to this, right? Vesica is how the conception geometry, right, of the body that you're going to use as an interface, but also the heart that portals you here to have an experience. Now, I come back to this, right? From our point of view here, how many variants of you are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? 6 interfaces being created. Right? Also, the heart, the portal, right, coming from here to have an experience. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool, right? So it's really helps to really figure it all out, as I can show you there, right? That connects to these sacred geometries that, again, I was very much guided to utilize. But how they all connect up to you as a consciousness, the purpose in you being here. Right? I'll show you this as well. Again, the 2 circles, you find the cross there. Right? And cross is actually, in that vesicle, cross even within a circle, is an ancient symbol for sun. What's the Latin word for sun? Sol, S-O-L. Right? Is that by coincidence? By accident? No. The light source, energy source that we need as a human to live, sun, our original light source, an energy source, so that's outside, within, soul. It's the same, S-O-U-L. Right? So there's many connections to that. Also here, this is where the word Pisces come from. Pisces mean fishes. Right, if I put it like that, we see fish, right, and then its tail. Okay. And that design of a fish, also when they go through water, they move like that, which is a wave pattern. Okay. When we open our heart and facilitate that flow of our energy of consciousness here, which then expands our field, right, which is the whole idea of holding space, not going into space. We don't do that. We hold space. Is what's the form of geometry of flow, right? The carrier wave of getting your energy here. That vortex. It's a wave pattern. Cool, right? Okay, so I hope you've really enjoyed the video, showing you some of my favorite geometries and those geometries that we used to use to amplify an intent. The reason why I don't need the physical tool to amplify my intent, because again, that's just the physical embodiment, the translation of frequencies that we can facilitate ourselves when we become aware of how the facilitation of ourself as a consciousness, as a soul, our authenticity by getting the heart open, and how that connects to all these beautiful geometries, purpose, everything about life. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed the video. Catch you later.